This was once a chemical soup that was antithetical to life forms. In fact, being water, it attracted all kinds of beautiful animals and trapped them in a death spiral. They drowned in the pool for no reason whatsoever. So I decided to transform it into a place that attracted life and created more forms of life. In fact, it is such an attractant, and the species, the thousands of species that I see every day, increase all the time. This is now no longer a death trap, but a fountain of life.
When did you start working on it?
Only a year ago, and I made every mistake possible. I didn't get the pH right, I had the salt wrong, and I want to share with you in this what I did what I would do again, that you can take that and create this kind of paradise in your own yard. So it's been since November. The thing has really transformed itself since about May, and it is in a constant state of change. Its dynamism is just obsessing to behold. It won't be long before the water clears up and the algae disappears, and it becomes a completely integral and self-contained ecosystem.
Why do you think people need to do the same as you did?
Because most suburban pools are completely unused, and people have the imagination, the idea that they're going to swim in them. What ends up happening is once they have their kids reach puberty, they no longer want to swim in a pool. The thing is, so the people are spending $100+ a month maintaining a pool that they will never use. But the beauty of this pond is that you can swim in it anyway. There is no reason why an adult person can swim in this. I have people come and visit me, and they enjoy swimming in it. A lot of people are a little leery about it, but there's no health risk at all.
What was your first step?
My first step was to stop chlorinating it. My initial mistake was not to replace some of the water, because the water was highly salinated. If you have a pond that has been chlorinated for a long time, you end up with a very high level of salt. So it was still pretty antithetical to life. So after I drained off about a third of the pool and refilled it, then I could put in the oxygenating plants and the fish and the floating plants, and then it began to take off on its own. You basically need to just set the stage for nature, and she takes over, and she does all the hard work for you. So you just kind of are there to facilitate things. And when you see things are going wrong, you rectify them and help her out. But basically, this incredibly complex system is doing it all on its own.
Did you have the previous experience?
I had no previous experience. I was inspired by a person down the street from me that did this. I kind of always had the idea, but I thought that it would end up a gigantic mess. So some neighbors down the street did this, and I went over to their house, and I thought to myself, this is exactly what I want to do. And where it will go in the long run, I'm not exactly sure, but it's just a fantastic experience. It has been a fantastic experience.
What about fish?
So the fish, initially I put in minnows and goldfish as a placeholder because I hadn't really decided what to do in the long run. And I needed to put fish in there to keep down the mosquitoes. I've since added what is called Chinese banded shark and the eat the algae. What I really wanted to do was create a place for frogs and other amphibians, which I will, as it turns out, it's probably not a good thing to put them in the pond, but I'm going to create a bog on the outside where they can live. Right now I have a turtle, and I hope to keep adding species, because the more species that you add, the more stable the environment becomes.
So what would you like to say to the world?
What I would like to say to the world is take the land that you are given and bring nature, invite nature back in. Everything that you have is a potential for something that mitigates all the terrible things that happen in civilization. This is a kind of a process that I call ungardening. You take the land that you're given, instead of controlling it and trying to put nature in a box and fight with it, bring nature back into your yard, because it is everywhere. Nature doesn't start at the garden gate. In fact, there's no such thing as indoors and outdoors. It's all around us all the time, and instead make a healthy environment. You can do something. It's one of the few things that an individual can do to change the world, and it's super easy. And it will get you out of the house. It will bring you nothing but joy, and trust me, it's like watching a fire at night when you just can't take your eyes off it. This kind of a thing, you can't take your eyes off.
How did it contribute to your spiritual experience?
Oh, well, for one thing, I think one of the things about the modern world is we feel disconnected from the rest of the world. Connectedness is one of the things that reduces our sense of self. And when you reduce your sense of self, you bring yourself nothing but happiness. The worst thing a person could do is sit in an isolated room and think about themselves. That causes nothing but anxiety and unhappiness. If you get out and work on something like this, it's a form of meditation, and probably the most powerful form. It's not like sitting in a room and chanting a mantra over and over again. You're participating in the world like a human being should do. You're a piece, you're a part of the puzzle, and it just, I can't describe how different it feels. I just invite everybody to do this for themselves. No matter how small your yard is, or how small your space is, or whatever that you have, you can do this in a few square meters.
So you think it's a healing experience, yes?
It absolutely is. Absolutely a healing experience. It brings you back to the state of mind that our ancestors have evolved to. And of course, what our ancestors have evolved to makes us feel good.
Are there any specific steps you would recommend other people if they want to follow your experience?
I would say that, first of all, test the salt in your water, test the pH, adjust for those things. You can reduce the amount of water and put some more back. Then I would first put in oxygenating plants, which I didn't do it initially. And then after that, you can start adding plants on the margins. Then you can start adding animals, and you will shave off months of trial and error that I've already gone through, and feel that if I were to do this again, I think I could have achieved this at a much quicker rate, and by now I would be much further along on the path. But that's part of the learning process. It's part of the joy of things. Almost if you know too much, it takes the joy and fun out of it. You're really just a spark for an increasing level of complexity, and it's like the basic equations of life are actually pretty simple. pH, saltiness, these kind of things. But then the way they interact through entropy creates more and more complex systems. You're not really ever in control. It's like making beer or making bread. You think that you're in control, but you're just the shepherd that just kind of guides it gently, and nature takes this and does it all for you. And what could be more fun than that?
What's your favorite quote?
Whoa. Gosh, I'd have to think about that.
Thank you so much.
Okay.